الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. My name is Sophia, I'm your host. The aim of Let the Quran Speak is to help you gain deeper insights into Muslims and Islam, as it is practiced here and in other parts of the world. In this episode, choosing friends. In the Facebook era, it's easy to have a lot of friends, but should we be more discerning about the people we call our friends? We'll be discussing the characteristics of a good friend later in the show. First, let's talk about drone strikes. Under the Obama administration, drone strikes in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia have killed thousands. The administration claims these armed and unmanned aerial systems are necessary in the war against terror. Critics say the strikes are extrajudicial assassinations. We want to examine both these claims in our show. With me to discuss this subject, Dr. Shabir Ali, President of the Islamic Information Center. Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on, as usual.
Now, I was looking at some statistics, and one U.S. Republican senator recently put the number of people killed at 4,700, which is a pretty large number since 2001. What are your thoughts on drone strikes?
Well, the number is at first striking because this is a larger number than the number of people who were killed in the attacks of September 11, 2001.
Do you know the estimated number?
It was once published at 3,000,
Okay.
and then the subsequent investigations lowered the number a little bit. Not too much, but still, if we think of 3,000 versus 4,700, then definitely if the large number of people killed on the one occasion raised alarm bells for all of us. Naturally,
and rightly so.
Yes, right? Yes. And then naturally we should be equally concerned with the 4,700, about the 4,700 killed, even if that is over a longer period of time, still a large number of people. Now, usually the claim is that this method of killing is necessary to root out militants, or as they would say, we need to kill a person by this method if that person poses an imminent danger to us, and if his capture is not feasible. Mm-hmm. So that's so much for the claim. But on the other side of it, we find that reports one after another show that people have been taken out in such drone strikes, and the accountability and transparency is not there for the public to be able to see that justice has been done in these cases. And this is an unusual turn of events given the rise of democracies and all of the judicial systems that we have put in place to make sure that government really is by the people and for the people, mm-hmm. that justice is not only done but is seen to be done. Trials have to be public. If a person is considered guilty of a charge, he has to be charged, or guilty of an offense, he has to be charged in a formal way, and he has to be tried in a fair and open system. With these drone strikes, we are giving a new morality here as the basis of our actions, that whoever has the power and whoever has these devices can then, of their own choosing and without any further oversight, conduct these operations, taking out individuals in some remote part of the world.
Mm-hmm. And we know that governments are often wrong about people who are innocent or guilty. Even within a court system, you could be wrong about an individual, whether they're innocent or not. Just striking on an individual within a remote village, there's much greater risk that one could pick the wrong person.
Yes, of course, and this is why we have checks and balances in our modern societies. Governments do have a great amount of power, and there is the adage that absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is why we have overseeing bodies. If a government wants to put a wiretap on somebody's communications, that has to be shown to be justified, and the justification has to be that the information gathered from such wiretapping, or the benefits of obtaining such information outweighs the harm of intervening in civilian communications. So that's only for the purpose of putting a wiretap on somebody's communication. What about taking out the person's life? Mm-hmm. This is really something tremendous to even contemplate. If somebody is on death row, he doesn't get there by just some accident or a singular decision. He gets there through a long process where he is given adequate legal defense. This is the morality that is taught by religions, in that we treat everyone with fairness and balance. In the Islamic tradition, it is mentioned that once Omar heard a man reciting some foul words or something like this, and it was obvious that the man was drunk. So he scaled the wall to apprehend the man. He was the caliph at the time. And the man said, you know, you broke certain rules here, because this is my private property, you scaled the wall, mm-hmm. and so on. So, and Omar left him alone. And that shows that even at that time, there was the consciousness that you have to work by certain rules. You just cannot be the judge, jury, and executioner all at once. And unfortunately, this is what the unmanned drone missions give the power for someone to do.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of these armed robots? They're essentially armed robots that go about killing people. What do you think about the use of them? There's less risk involved, right? Because in the past, people, the U.S. governments had to recruit people, and they had to go and fight in war, and there was a chance that they too would be killed. In this circumstance, it's risk-free, and so there's very little responsibility as a consequence for the U.S. government.
Yes, and this is why, to a large extent, the populace doesn't bat an eye, because when bodies come back in body bags, that's when everyone, you know, awakens to the reality that we're at war, and our youth are being killed overseas, and then they're asking, you know, what's the legitimacy of this war? Is it justified? Is it necessary to send our youth abroad to fight? But when the drones go and do their work, if a drone is felled for a certain reason, then sometimes it doesn't even make it in the headlines. It is just a side note, a commentary somewhere, and hardly anyone cares, because mm-hmm. the loss of life is on the other side, not on our side. But fairness demands that we should value every life. The Quran says in Surah 5, verses number 32 and 33, that if one were to save one life, it is as if he saved the whole populace, because think about all of the progeny that is possible from this one individual. So we should be concerned about the loss of life everywhere. The presence of, or the use of these drones not only counts in terms of the casualties, but it affects populations where they're being used. Imagine people in northwest Pakistan, where they see these drones hovering above them on a regular basis.
24 hours a day.
Yes, so, and then they know that it's possible that these could strike at any time. So just seeing them there and knowing that this is possible makes everyone feel vulnerable. Mm-hmm. People are reporting that they avoid public gatherings, even of the usual kind. Funerals, for example. People now figure it is better to stay indoors than to risk being struck by one of these drones.
Do you think it makes the world safer, these drones?
It is not clear that it does.
Particularly concerning the war against terror.
It's only an initial hunch that says that, okay, if we use these drones, we'll knock out the terrorists before they come to get us, mm-hmm. and then we'll be safer. But it is not clear that it is doing that. The Times Square, or the to-be Times Square bomber, actually used the fact of drone strikes as his justification. This is why he considers the United States to be at war with him, and he therefore at war with the United States. So while we blame Muslim terrorists and we condemn Muslim suicide bombers for using that particular method, they are on the other hand looking at the policies from other nations, and they're saying if they can use such policies which defy international standards and moral and ethical principles, then why are you condemning us? We're just going tit for tat. And of course, we condemn wrong wherever it is, and we continue to explain that our religion teaches non-violent approaches to solving our difficulties. We continue to say that it is not right to strap oneself with a bomb and then go kill oneself and civilians along the way, or anyone for that matter. This is just not a proper method. If one wants to settle disputes, we enter into dialogue, negotiations, and the powers that be need to do this, not the ordinary civilian. The ordinary civilian needs to go about his or her daily life, trying to contribute to society according to his or her level of expertise, and to gain more expertise so that one can contribute at a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Apparently there are many other countries with drone strike capability. So, you know, you can imagine a time in which many other countries are using this against each other.
Yes, and this is why civilians have to pay attention and have to start mass movements in which we demand of our governments to settle their differences by peaceful negotiations and not to use war as the preferred method. Now with the drone strikes, whereas it is said that we strike because capture is not feasible, well then no one even bothers to try and capture anymore, because it is so easy to pull the trigger from the safe distance, either from the United States or one of the secret sites that is nestled somewhere in some part of the world. Mm-hmm. The case of Anwar al-Awlaki, I think, is a telling case. Recently, an article in the Toronto Star drew attention to this by saying that Anwar al-Awlaki, first of all, was a United States citizen. So here is a country taking out its own citizen without any trial. And then if we say that it is because he posed an imminent danger, well, he was on the kill list for more than a year. So then the article asks, how could he have been an imminent danger for more than a year? Mm-hmm. This is a real question mark. So I think it is important that citizens be aware of what their governments are doing, and that citizens go back to their religious teachings about nonviolence and about peace, and insist that their governments do hold to these high moral and ethical values.
One last comment. It's interesting that Muslims put a lot of hope in Obama, and the Muslim world was very hopeful that Obama would change things in terms of Islam and the relations between Islam and the West. But it's Obama who's actually expanded this program, this drone strike program, which is interesting and telling.
This is one of the troubling features of his administration, that it has allowed or sanctioned the expansion of this program. And we can only hope that he's watching this program, or somebody watching this program will advise him and advise all of the powers at be that war is not a good thing. And if we feel that we have the power to strike someone else, we have to be aware that actions have consequences, and somebody will try to retaliate. And violence breeds more violence. Peace, however, is the solution to our problems.
All right, thank you for that, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
We'll take a break. When we return, choosing friends.